God, my hair is like the color of dead grass. Anyway, speaking of dead grass, talking about The Tax Collector. I really wasn't gonna, like, watch this because I don't care for Shia LaBeouf, you know? Like, so I was like, whatever. And then, like, this movie had, like, the quote-unquote controversy when the trailer dropped, and people were like, oh my god, it's supposed to be about, like, Mexican gangs, and Shia LaBeouf is there, like, you know, thinking it's gonna be like, you know, like a white person playing a person of color kind of role, and then David Ayer came out and he was like, no, 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 like, he's white, we all know he's white, and it's kind of like, well, I hope so. I hope we all know that Shia LaBeouf is fucking white. Anyway, and they're like, oh, he's white, everyone else is, like, everyone's the correct thing, you know? So, I guess that helped with more publicity on this movie, because even before the controversy, I really didn't hear about this movie. And again, I wasn't gonna watch it, but then, Paul was like, oh my god, have you seen The Tax Collector? And I was like, no, why would I watch Shia LaBeouf? He's like, it's so bad! I was like, well, now I have to. We all know that's how it is with me. Oh, it's so bad? Okay, I have to watch it then. So I watched it, and it's so fucking stupid. It's, okay, at least, like, the upside is that it's 90 minutes long. So, you know what I mean? You're, like, in and out. But at the same time, God, I feel like, what was it? I think when I said with the movie Relic or something, 48 minutes in, I'm looking at, like, again, the progress bar. I'm like, we're 48 minutes in, a little bit over halfway through, and it's just like, what's happened, you know? Like, general plot of this is, Shia LaBeouf and Guy are tax collectors. They work for the Wizard, who is a, you know, crime boss guy, you know, gang head, whatever, and he's in prison because, you know, why not? And, you know, they go to all the different gangs and collect their fee and then give it to Tibet, and, you know, all this stuff. And so, you know, there's this thing, there's this part where, you know, like, Shia LaBeouf, like, he monologues, and he's just like, you know, like, it's better that, you know, I'd rather you steal from your mother, and instead of, you know, giving us money short, blah, 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 you know, like, this whole, like, monologue about how, like, you know, he'll fuck you up and all that stuff, and, like, the way how Shia LaBeouf's character is presented is like, you know, he's in the nice suit, you know, he's armed to the teeth, he's got a goatee and like a buzz haircut, so you know he's, you know, oh my god, that kind of white guy, you know. And so you're like, oh my god, he's gonna like kick some ass and whatever. But he's like presented like that. But then he's never like what you think. Like they gave him that kind of like, what's his name, like Shades from Luke Cage, and you're like, oh fuck, he's gonna fuck you up. But like it doesn't, it never, you never get the money shot for this. Like you really don't. It's just, you know. Anyway, I'm like getting ahead of myself because there's just so much shit, and my hair is making back of my neck itchy. Anyway. So yes, tax collector guys, So they give their bundle of joy to the people, and they're like, hey, tax collector guys, you're short. And it's like, what? You know, and then they realize that the guy that they gave, like, the speech to was the one who gave them short because he needed to, like, you know, like, take some of the money to pay for medical bills because someone's child, family, it's always that. It needs medical things for things and stuff. And, sure. So, there comes, like, the thing where it's like, you know, everything's been right as rain to a degree, even though we're, like, you know, just, what's the word? Not laundering, but like we're gonna beat up people for money, so we're gonna do that kind of shit. And anyway, so so they realize, okay, they're short, and it's like, okay, they're gonna have to, you know, break some kneecaps or something for that. And then it's also funny because it's like these two guys, and of course it's always the thing of like Shia LaBeouf's character, loner, it's just him, he's just the angry aggressor, whatever. And then you got other guy who, you know, has a wife and kids, of course. But it's also like, they go out there, like, okay, at least, I don't know, at least Shia LaBeouf, like, wears sunglasses. But the other guy, like, he doesn't wear sunglasses, he doesn't wear, like, a disguise or something to kind of, like, differentiate it, like, to kind of, you know, disguise him from whatever fuck. And to no surprise, of course, you know, like, people find him at his, like, kids, like, quinceañera. I think at his kids, I don't know, but it was a quinceañera. And it's, like, the female Shia LaBeouf character who was just like, hey, I like how whatever. I also love how horrifically stereotypical this movie is, because anytime someone is, like, trying to roll up on someone really tough, they do, like, that very horrific stereotypical Mexican accent. It's like, you, hey, like, just, oh, that's so not okay, you know. And I mean, like, I've met some people who do speak like that, but, you know, like, can we not? Anyway, let's not be that for this movie. Because also this is a David Ayer movie, because he's just, like, what was it? He did Street Kings, where, is that the one where Keanu Reeves is a racist cop? There was like a time in, like, the early 2000s where, like, Keanu Reeves played, like, racist cop for like a short bit of time. Like, you know what I mean? Like before, like, in between the Matrix movies, he was like, let me just be racist cop for a bit. Like, just like, okay. And he did Street Kings, he did, what was it, Training Day? Like, a lot of the movies he has is very, like, you know, like, penis on the table, guns, gun, 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 you know, like, that very, you know, he also, you know, wrote, like, fucking, you know, Suicide Squad, which was just, like, everything was horrible, you know, like, it's just, it's a rarity that you go, oh, this is good, you know, that he's done. You know, when he did, that Netflix movie, Bright, you know, the movie where, like, black women didn't exist. I was like, wow, okay, Will Smith exists. And those alien guys, but black women do not exist. Anyway, I'll stop. But, so anyway, yeah, so, to no surprise, once I started hearing the accents, I was like, wait a second. And I looked, I was like, oh, okay, this is the guy's filmography. I'm not, right, I've seen all these, okay. So, Jesus Christ. So yeah, like, everyone who's tough has that accent, because why not? And anyway, so there's pretty much, like, a hit or something out on the guys that are like, hey, if you don't pay up what you're missing because of that person, blah, 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 then, you know, all hell breaks loose. Okay, fine. So then, like, oh, George Lopez is in it, and funny enough, George Lopez is, like, probably, like, the best actor, you know, of everyone in this fucking movie. Not that he's ever been terrible, but his comedy's very, like, you know, it's not my thing, you know. But, like, here, it was like, oh, wow. It's like everyone playing opposite George Lopez was terrible. It's weird to be like, you know, who's the best actor in this whole movie? George Lopez. Yeah. I mean, like, Shia LaBeouf was just, you could tell he had fun. The other guy, he was trying really hard. So you're kind of like, oh, good for you, you're trying. Anyway, so shit happens. You're back at the, mechanic tire place. That's where George Lopez is. That's like the guy's family. Anyway, so there's huge, like, it's like that scene in Romeo and Juliet at the gas station where it's just like gunfire. This girl, she had like a bag with like a pipe bomb in it. They could have done some better editing. So she had this bag, which probably weighed just as much as her. And you know how usually it's like when you have like a prop in a movie and you have to either act like it's heavy, or if it's heavy, you have to act like it's not, kind of thing. But she definitely was like, like trying to swing it, and it like landed 2 feet in front of her, and they just like they cut later than before, so it, and like, you know, you could have cut when the bag was like in the air and made it look like it landed near the cars, but it just like, you could tell it landed 2 feet in front of her, and somehow like it slid towards like the cars being worked on, and you see the pipe bomb, and it's like, oh my god. It's fucking, anyway, she's like with this bag like, you know, just, oh god, okay, now I'm gonna give myself whiplash doing that. Anyway, so that happens, the whole shit goes up the fucked. Shia LaBeouf gets captured. Now again, you see his character, you think he's gonna come out like fucking Matrix style, 17 guns, like, hidden everywhere, like, be like, because when Paul was telling me about this, he said that he was like, you never get to see Shia LaBeouf really kick ass, and then I remember saying, like, oh, did you think he was gonna be like, almost said the wrong name, did you think he was gonna be like Taylor Kitsch's character in 21 Bridges, and Paul was like, yeah, you, just like, Paul's not one to watch a lot of terrible movies, so of course his reaction to terrible movies just is there's more anger rather than mine just like, well, of course. But he's like, yeah, you know, he was like, yeah, you would think he'd be like sniping fools and like just getting headshot after headshot, but it wasn't. It was just the passion and his anger was just like, it fed my soul. But really, like you don't, like, again, you would think because just the way how his character was like portrayed and stuff, you would think like when the big like gunfight and stuff happened that he would be like bah, 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 bah. Like, you know, the whole like 20 people against one person kind of thing, and he like stood his ground, and oh my god, even if he died guns a-blazing, you know, that whole thing where, you know, he killed the majority of them but somehow he got caught by one person, you know, like that whole thing. But no, instead he's just like main, you know, Latin guy just starts running. He's like, ah! Like, he doesn't even give a fuck about his buddy Shia LaBeouf, you know? He's just like, ah! And he's just like running. Like, he leaves the scene, you know? Shia LaBeouf is like, ah! He becomes Shia LaBeouf, you know? Full, like, you know, Transformer, like, ah! Okay, he doesn't scream, but you could kind of just, you kind of see it happening. So he doesn't do any of that. Like, you think, like, even, like, fucking Baby Driver had, like, amazing, like, gunfights and stuff like that. But instead, it was just, like, the people attacking that place, and then everyone just, like, dying, and then Shia LaBeouf getting captured, you know? And then, like, yeah, and then, like, he gets tortured, and then, oh, they actually do take, hammers to knees to him. Although, again, the props for that, the girl who's, like, hammering his knees, it's obviously not a real hammer and all that stuff, but she's like not knowing how to use like a, you know, she's not knowing how to be like boom boom, you know, like that, just so like it, even though it's like floppy, because obviously you don't really want to be hurting your actor, but she's literally just like hitting it so you can actually see the hammer hitting his knees and being like it's like oh, it was just like really funny. Also, like the way how she did it, it didn't look like force. Again, it wasn't like ha. It was just like boing, boing, boing. Like she would just like that on his knees, and Shia LaBeouf is like tied up, and he's like ah, you know. It's just so good. Like it would be great. Like that's like satire I would do. Like, you know, that's like beautiful. Like, oh my god, that's me right there. But this is played serious. And I can't, you know. Anyway, so, you know, Shia LaBeouf is dead. Anyway, so the guy just, like, he runs away, he, like, just slaps an old man out of his pickup truck, drives to, like, the hotel, because before, he already, like, took his wife and kids out of school and all that stuff, and just, like, put them in, like, a nice hotel suite, which I don't know how safe that was, to put them in a nice, fancy suite. Anyway, he runs back to the hotel, sees no one there, somehow does not smell the blood in the air, because his wife is dead on the floor, you know, and then he, like, puts her in the bathtub, because I saw him pick her up, and I was like, well, what are you gonna do? And you see, and I'm like, and it's also in slow motion, where he just, like, picks her up, and I'm just like, is he gonna, like, you know, bring her to the fucking tub? And he does, and I get it if you, like, he puts her in the tub, and then, you know, just starts, like, I guess, washing her, which I get. And it cuts back to, like, other stuff, and then it cuts back to him, and now he's in the tub, and it's obviously bloody and all that stuff, and he's holding her, like, and then it's slow-mo, there's just a score happening, and he's like, ah, and you're thinking, like, could you imagine if you're in, like, the other hotel suite, and you're just like, oh my god, look at this hotel suite, you know, like, you're, like, with your phone, like, oh my god, so we're, like, in this hotel, oh, blah, 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 and all of a sudden, you're just like, that, and you just hear a guy in the background, ah! Just blood curdling scream because his dead wife is in his arms right now, you know. This movie is so stupid. It's just like the idea, the premise is like a pretty decent idea, and it probably could have done well in like a 90-minute thing, because you could do a lot with something like this. But man, this was stupid. And again, like I said, 48 minutes in is when I was like, what is happening? And it was like an hour, then an hour in is when the Shia LaBeouf thing happened. Because I remember being like, oh my god. And then it was like an hour and 13 minutes in is when the guy was like, oh, I'm gonna seek revenge. And I'm like, bro, you got like 20 minutes left in this movie. You know, like, what are you gonna fucking do about it? And like, and so he does his thing, fucking hell. And then when he's done, you know, his thing, he gets a call from like, well, he calls the wizard. And the wizard, like, the wizard's on the phone. It just sounds insane that I'm saying that. It's just the wizard's on the phone to him, revealing that he is his father. What? Like, so you've been working for your dad, not knowing it's your dad, because your dad's in prison, because, again, stereotypes. And then, you know, like, the whole time he knew he was your dad, but he's not gonna tell you until you literally lose everything. Oh, also, the way how he was able to, like, seek revenge is that earlier there was, like, a real quick thing about how, like, there was some dude from the Bloods, and so now he, like, blah, 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 and he's cool with the blood, so he got the Bloods, you know, and then you got stereotypical black people, you know, like, happening. It was just, like, and then it's, like, one, you know, I'm guessing Mexican guy, and then bunch of black people, what gods, oh my god, the inner city, you know, like, that kind of shit. Oh, man, and then the whole, like, having the Breaking Bad barrel filled with money buried in the backyard of the cousin, I'm like, God, that's, just, oh, man. This movie's stupid. I think I gave it like 1 star. It was just like, it's not, it's, if you want to see something bad, yeah, but if you're, from what you see in the trailer is what you think the movie is, it's not. Or it is, depending, you know. It's just, it's not good. It's not good. Because I was like, man, a lot of the movies that, you know, that the recently released ones I've been watching, I'm like, oh, none of them are just like either bad enough or like good enough. Like, you know, it's like, for me, not enough to really, like, do a review on, because it would just be me, like, 5 minutes being like, so I saw this movie and this happened and it was alright. You know, like, that kind of stuff. So, like, okay, like, it's been a while, and then I was looking at my list, I was like, oh, I'm getting the Tax Collector. Oh, that's gonna be fun, you know, but, yeah, so that was the Tax Collector, and all the letters just scooched in at once. It's so bad. At least it's like funny bad. At least it's not aggravating bad, you know. But yeah. Tax Collector!